What if the greatest quantum shift of your life doesn't come after years of effort, but in a single moment of stillness? Right now, as you're watching this, there's a profound lie operating in the background of your consciousness. A lie so embedded in our culture that we mistake it for truth. We've been conditioned to believe that real change must be hard-earned, that transformation demands months of struggle, endless healing sessions, and constant proof of our dedication. But this belief isn't just wrong, it's the very thing keeping you trapped in the old reality. Here's what no one talks about. Your ego is addicted to complexity. It thrives on the drama of fixing, the identity of seeking, the endless loop of not there yet. The ego fears simplicity because in the quiet, there's nothing to hide behind. No strategies to perfect, no techniques to master, no evidence to collect. Just pure being. And that terrifies the part of you that's built an entire identity around the struggle. I met someone recently who experienced what they described as an instant quantum shift, not through years of meditation or countless healing modalities, but in a moment so ordinary, so unremarkable, that they almost missed it entirely. They were simply sitting in their kitchen, not trying to manifest anything, not visualizing, not affirming, just existing in complete stillness. And in that silence, something fundamental reorganized. But here's the mystery I want you to hold. What actually happened in that moment that allowed reality itself to respond so immediately? If you're tired of chasing transformation and ready to embody it instead, this channel is designed for minds like yours. Minds that understand the intersection of science and consciousness and are ready to step beyond the mythology of struggle into the precision of quantum alignment. Here's what I've discovered after years of studying the intersection of neuroscience and quantum mechanics. Transformation isn't about accumulating more techniques or enduring more pain. It's about energetic precision. Simplicity isn't weakness. It's the highest form of coherence the quantum field recognizes. While your ego obsesses over effort, complexity, and proving, the quantum field responds to one thing: alignment. The perfect synchronization between your thoughts, emotions, and identity. Think about it this way. You've been taught that the mountain of change must be climbed step by exhausting step. But what if you've been staring at a molehill the entire time? What if the quantum shift you're seeking isn't a destination you arrive at through struggle, but a frequency you tune into through stillness? The ego loves the mountain because it can build an identity around the climb. It can measure progress, collect evidence, and maintain the story of working toward something better. But here's the reframe that changes everything. The true threshold of change is crossed in silence, not struggle. In the space between thoughts, between breaths, between the endless mental commentary about what you need to fix or improve. That's where reality becomes malleable. That's where the quantum field recognizes you as a new person entirely. Remember that person I mentioned who experienced the instant shift in their kitchen? They weren't doing anything revolutionary. They weren't even trying. They had simply stopped struggling long enough for their natural frequency to emerge. But what exactly was that frequency? And how did it communicate with reality so directly? What if the answer has always been right in the quiet moments you've overlooked, dismissed as not doing enough? The quantum shift isn't earned, it's embodied. And that embodiment happens in the spaces you've been rushing past. Let me break down how coherence actually creates a quantum shift, because this is where science meets the seemingly mystical. Coherence is the state where your thoughts, emotions, and sense of identity are perfectly aligned, like three tuning forks vibrating at the exact same frequency. When this happens, you're no longer sending mixed signals to the quantum field. You're broadcasting one clear, unified frequency that reality can respond to immediately. Think of it like a radio. When you're slightly off the station, you get static, interference, fragments of different broadcasts bleeding through. That's most people's energetic state, wanting one thing mentally, feeling something else emotionally, and identifying as someone completely different. But when you find that precise frequency, Suddenly the signal is crystal clear. The quantum field receives your transmission without distortion. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research in neuroscience shows us exactly how this works in the brain. When we achieve what he calls coherent brainwave states, when different regions of the brain synchronize their electrical activity, we literally rewire our neural networks in real time. The brain-body connection doesn't just improve gradually over months, it can shift instantaneously when coherence is achieved. This isn't mystical thinking. This is measurable, documented neuroplasticity happening at quantum speed. Here's the key those of us on this path already understand. The quantum field doesn't respond to force or desperation or trying harder. It responds to precision. It responds to the clarity of your energetic signature when there's no internal contradiction, no part of you secretly believing you're still the old version of yourself. This is why struggle actually works against quantum shifts. Struggle is incoherent by nature. It assumes you're lacking something, fighting something, proving something. It's energetic static. But in stillness, when you stop broadcasting that you need to become someone else and instead embody the frequency of already being that person, something remarkable happens. Your nervous system shifts into coherence. Your brainwaves synchronize. Your heart rhythm becomes coherent. And suddenly, you're not asking the quantum field for change. You're demonstrating change. You're showing up as the new reality instead of requesting it. This is why those quiet moments you've been dismissing as not productive enough are actually the most quantum shift conducive states you can access. In silence, there's no ego commentary running interference, no mental effort creating contradiction, no emotional reactivity generating static, just pure, coherent frequency, the language the quantum field speaks fluently. Many people in this community have discovered that their biggest breakthroughs didn't come during their most intense manifestation sessions, but in those unremarkable moments when they stopped trying altogether, when they released the need to control the how and simply maintained the frequency of the what. That's not coincidence, that's quantum mechanics in action. The field responds to being, not becoming, to presence, not pressure, to the coherent simplicity of someone who has stopped arguing with reality and started embodying the new one. Here's where it gets tricky, and why so many well-meaning people stay stuck despite doing all the right things. Every time you repeat an affirmation, you're subtly reinforcing that you don't already have what you're affirming. Every visualization session becomes evidence that you're still in the reality where you need to visualize it. Every healing modality you try whispers the unconscious message, I'm still broken and need fixing. The very act of working on yourself can become proof that the work isn't done. This is the ego's most sophisticated trap. It convinces you that transformation requires constant effort, endless techniques, and measurable progress. So you find yourself on this hamster wheel of spiritual productivity, meditating longer, affirming harder, visualizing more vividly, collecting more synchronicities, waiting for more signs. But each action, no matter how spiritually advanced it appears, is actually amplifying the frequency of not there yet. I see this everywhere in our community. People chasing external validation that their quantum shift is working, needing to see the money in their bank account before they believe they're abundant, waiting for the relationship to appear before they embody love, looking for synchronicities to confirm they're on the right path. But here's what we miss. The quantum field interprets this seeking energy as your true frequency. It responds to your actual energetic state, not your conscious intentions. The most well-meaning approaches often backfire because they're rooted in subtle scarcity. When you're constantly checking your reality to see if it's shifted yet, you're broadcasting the frequency of someone whose reality hasn't shifted yet. When you're trying to feel different, you're emphasizing that you currently feel wrong. When you're working to become someone new, you're reinforcing your identity as someone who isn't that person yet. Even worse, many of us have turned quantum shifting into another form of performance. We measure our worthiness by how consistently we can maintain positive states, how quickly we can manifest results, how evolved our understanding sounds. But the quantum field doesn't respond to performance. It responds to authenticity. And authentic coherence often means letting go of the need to prove you're doing it right and simply being still enough to discover who you already are beneath all the effort. If you're feeling frustrated right now, recognizing yourself in some of those patterns, I want you to take a breath and understand something crucial. You're not failing. You haven't been doing it wrong. You've simply been using the wrong map to navigate territory that requires a completely different approach. The effort you've been putting in, the sincerity of your practice, the depth of your desire for transformation, none of that has been wasted. It's brought you to this moment of recognition. The relief I want you to feel right now is this. The simplicity of coherence is available to you immediately, not after you perfect your meditation practice, not after you heal all your childhood wounds, not after you finally figure out the right manifestation technique, right now. The quantum shift isn't something you achieve through accumulated effort. It's something you uncover by removing the layers of complexity you've been adding. You've been carrying the weight of transformation as if it's your job to orchestrate reality, to prove your worthiness, to demonstrate your spiritual evolution. But what if your only job is to get so still, so present, so aligned with who you already are beneath all the trying, that there's no static left to interfere with your natural frequency? What if the quantum field has been waiting for you to stop working so hard at becoming, so it can finally show you who you've always been? The path forward isn't more complicated, it's simpler. It's not about adding more techniques to your toolkit. It's about trusting the coherence that emerges when you stop frantically rearranging your inner world and allow it to settle into its natural state of wholeness. If this message is landing in your chest, in that place where truth resonates beyond mental understanding, would you help me share this frequency with others who need to hear it? Hit the like button not just for the algorithm, but as a way to ripple this coherence into the collective field where someone else might be desperately searching for permission to stop trying so hard. I want to pause here and invite you into a moment of honest reflection. Not the kind where you analyze or figure out, but the kind where you simply feel into what's true for you right now. What if the quantum shift you've been chasing has already happened within you, and you've just been too busy striving to feel it? What if, beneath all the effort and seeking and trying to become, there's already a version of you that exists in complete coherence, waiting quietly for you to stop long enough to notice? In the stillest moments of your day, those brief pauses between activities, those seconds before you fall asleep, those quiet breaths before you reach for your phone, what identity do you notice quietly waiting to emerge? Not the one you're working to become, but the one that feels like coming home to yourself. For those of us who've already started waking up to this deeper truth, these aren't just philosophical questions. They're invitations to recognize what's been present all along. The person who experienced that instant shift in their kitchen. They didn't create something new in that moment. They simply stopped creating something false. They stopped reinforcing the story of incompleteness long enough for their wholeness to reveal itself. And that wholeness, that coherent frequency, it's been broadcasting from within you this entire time. Now, let's move from insight into embodiment. Because understanding coherence intellectually is just the beginning. Living it consistently is where the quantum shift becomes your new reality. And the beautiful thing is, it doesn't require complex practices or hours of your day. It requires precision in the simplest moments. Here's what I want you to experiment with. Once a day, find 1 minute of complete stillness. Not meditation with a goal, not visualization with an outcome, just pure being. Sit quietly and hold the emotional state of already being the version of yourself you've been seeking. Don't think about becoming that person. Feel into the reality of already being them. Let your nervous system marinate in the frequency of completion, wholeness, fulfillment. This isn't about forcing a feeling. It's about relaxing into the identity that exists beneath all your effort to create it. The people in our community who are experiencing real quantum shifts are those who've stopped chasing external confirmation and started embodying internal coherence. Sarah, for instance, stopped checking her bank account obsessively and started feeling genuinely abundant during her morning coffee. Within 2 weeks, opportunities appeared that doubled her income. Marcus quit analyzing every interaction with his partner and began embodying the love he wanted to experience. Their relationship transformed almost immediately, as if he tuned into a completely different frequency of connection. Notice what both of them did. They stopped making their external reality responsible for their internal state and instead made their internal state responsible for their external reality. This is the practical application of quantum mechanics, not as theory, but as lived experience. The key is consistency without attachment. Show up to this 1 minute of coherent being every day, but don't measure whether it's working by what happens externally. Your only job is to maintain the frequency. Reality's job is to respond to that frequency. When you stop monitoring the results and simply maintain the coherence, that's when the quantum field has clean information to work with. If you want to deepen and systematize this approach, I've created something called the Trail, a structured pathway that takes everything we've discussed today and organizes it into a clear, step-by-step journey from seeking to embodying. It's designed for people who understand the science behind transformation and are ready to live it practically. The link is in the description below, and it's the natural next step for anyone who wants to move beyond understanding quantum shifts to actually experiencing them consistently. But remember, even without any external program, you have everything you need. 1 minute of coherent stillness. 1 moment of being instead of becoming. That's where every quantum shift begins. Before we go any further, let's address the elephant in the room. You're going to slip back into old patterns. You're going to catch yourself seeking again, trying again, falling back into the familiar comfort of effort and complexity. And when that happens, your ego is going to whisper that you're failing, that you're not evolved enough, that maybe this coherence thing doesn't work for someone like you. Those of us walking this path together need to understand something fundamental. Falling back into old patterns isn't a sign of failure. It's part of the rewiring process. Your nervous system has been conditioned for years, maybe decades, to operate from seeking energy. It's going to default to what feels familiar until the new neural pathways become stronger than the old ones. The real mastery isn't in avoiding these relapses. It's in how quickly you notice them and return to coherence. Instead of measuring your success by how perfectly you maintain alignment, measure it by how rapidly you recognize when you've fallen out of alignment and how gracefully you step back into it. That's the true marker of someone who's genuinely shifting. Not the absence of old patterns, but the speed of returning to the new ones. Everyone in our community experiences this. The people who seem to be living in permanent coherence, they're not immune to old patterns. They've just developed the skill of returning to presence faster. They've learned to catch themselves in the act of seeking and gently redirect their energy back to being. It's a practice, not a perfection. This is why we do this work together, why we support each other through the inevitable moments of forgetting who we really are. Because in those moments when you feel like you've lost your way, you can remember that you're part of a collective that understands the territory. You're not alone in this rewiring process. You're surrounded by others who are learning to trust the simplicity of coherence over the familiarity of struggle. Now I want to resolve that mystery I opened with, the person who experienced an instant quantum shift in their kitchen. Here's what actually happened in that unremarkable moment. They stopped. Not just their body, but their entire energetic system. They released the need to become anyone other than who they were in that exact second. In the silence of surrender, their frequency clarified so completely that the quantum field received a signal without static, without contradiction, without the usual noise of seeking. The shift didn't happen because they did something right. It happened because they stopped doing anything wrong. They stopped arguing with their current reality and started embodying their desired one. In that kitchen, in that ordinary moment, they crossed the quiet threshold from becoming to being. So here's my invitation to you. In the comments below, leave one word that represents the frequency you're choosing to embody right now. Not the frequency you want to develop or work toward, but the one you're claiming in this moment. Maybe it's simplicity, maybe it's alignment, maybe it's wholeness or peace, or whatever word feels like the truest expression of who you are beneath all the seeking. This isn't just a comment, it's a declaration. It's you planting a seed of coherence in the collective field, joining your frequency with others who are choosing embodiment over effort. Together, we're creating a quantum resonance that makes it easier for everyone to remember the simplicity of who they already are. Here's the identity shift I want to leave you with. You are not someone chasing quantum shifts. You are someone embodying the quantum shift already. You're not seeking transformation. You're revealing the transformation that's been present all along. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath all the noise of trying to be someone else. You're part of an evolving collective, a community of conscious beings who understand that the deepest changes happen in the quietest moments. Together, we're pioneering a new way of transformation, one that honors simplicity over complexity, being over becoming, coherence over effort. And this is just the beginning. If this message resonates with who you already are, not who you're trying to become, but who you recognize yourself to be in this moment, then you belong here. This channel is designed for people like you, people who understand that the quantum shift isn't a destination, but a way of being that's available right now. I'll be here regularly, sharing new insights into the simplicity of quantum transformation, the neuroscience of coherence, and the practical ways to live from your wholeness instead of your seeking. Because this journey doesn't end with understanding. It deepens with every moment you choose to embody the frequency of already being who you came here to be.